Time to kib it, time to kib it, time to kib it. It's the big kib.
Hello everybody, Artistry and Finesse with you. It's Hometowns, biggest night of the year arguably, Finesse, and a heartbreaker, I thought, tonight.
Not arguably the biggest night of the year, inarguably the biggest night of the year. Just a huge night. I mean, this is why we are who we are for nights like tonight, for Hometowns. Because we know about one thing more than any other thing, and that's the blessing. We know a lot about it. We're able to interpret things and determine whether or not it's the blessing. A lot of people just look for the word blessing. We look much deeper than that. It goes way deeper than that. Yeah,
it's like interpreting the Torah.
It's very rabbinical, what we do here. Very rabbinical.
The other thing that we know the blessing, we know heartbreak, and we know, I mean, how certain were you of who was going home tonight from the very beginning? I mean, I just knew what was going to happen, and it broke my heart.
Well, you got to feel for Ben, the child of Renee, because he didn't know it was coming. He was a little blindsided by this, and I wonder what he's thinking right now.
Yeah, Ben just wanted to play a little baseball and, have a father figure in the stands. That's what Ben wanted. And now what's Ben left with? He's the real victim here.
He just wanted to have a catch with Dad. How's he going to have a catch now?
That's all Ben's looking for. He's going to come home from school tomorrow. He's going to say, "Where's JP? Where's my catch?"
He's just going to start throwing the ball against the wall, and then the neighbors are going to get upset. And then he's going to develop a drug problem. He's going to start doing whippets or something in his room. And next thing you know, he's in juvenile detention center.
We're looking at another Lindsay Lohan right now with Ben.
It's exactly right.
Just to be serious here before we get into the blessing, Mrs. Artistry and I just had a really intense conversation about how maybe we should invite Renee into the family, how she would be good for us. She'd be a great nanny. She'd keep the house really organized. She's a good person. Maybe we should just extend an offer.
But would you be able to have a catch with Ben, or would that fly in the face of your fatherhood and your raising of Little Artistry? Can you have a catch? Can you have a catch with Ben and with Little Artistry?
If he could teach Little Artistry how to throw, that's a win-win.
You could watch more Penguin games. You actually just make Ben work for you.
Yeah, just teach Little Artistry to focus on ball sports, and I'm happy, Yeah,
I've seen video of Little Artistry playing ball sports, and I think the first step before teaching him proper form is teaching him to be interested in playing.
Yeah, he's the attention to defense of an Alex Ovechkin.
Right. Well, you should. I think you should have Renee in your family. And I know that you would be a great father to Ben as well. Or not a real father, but a father figure. You don't want to be his real father.
Yeah, you don't want to say something like that lightly. And that's something that you'll learn, I think. You don't just say, "Hey, be a father to this kid."
Right. Well, when he starts saying, like, "This is my," he takes you to school, he's like, "This is my father Artistry," you need to correct him. And you say, "No, I'm your father figure."
Right. Whoa, Ben.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a weightier thing than that. Young man.
Yeah, let's rein it in, buddy. Let's rein it in. But before we move on to the episode, though, let's just stick with Ben for a second. He was in a baseball uniform. How do you think he compared to Roberto in Roberto's baseball uniform?
Listen, Ben has got a lot of room for growth. There's no question about that. But I thought he was adorable. I thought he, as Nikki's dad would say, was mature. I think he's a great kid, and I think Renee, you got out at the right time, honey. I mean, just run away while you still can. You don't want any part of what's going to happen here.
Right. You want to still have your dignity, because once you get in that fantasy suite, the dignity goes out the window.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's good. It's good for her. It's good for Ben. They can move on and try to pretend this never happened.
Right. Setting up a big Tuesday night, and I don't think we saw this coming at all. I mean, what are they thinking with the back-to-back Hometowns and Fantasy Suite night? Give us some room to breathe.
Yeah, I'm reacting to this news the same way the contestants react when a cocktail party gets canceled. I'm just stunned. I'm beside myself. I just didn't see it coming. It smacked me in the head out of nowhere.
What are we going to do tomorrow night? Do you have a hockey game?
Yeah, I got a game. I don't know what I'm going to do.
What the hell are we going to do? I'm flying to Detroit, of all places. What could be a lonelier prospect than watching the second of back-to-back nights of The Bachelor in a Dearborn hotel room by yourself?
You know, I once did a podcast with you from a hotel in Kentucky.
I know you did. That was also sad.
Yeah, and from a parking garage in Denver or Breckenridge once. So, you know, we've done worse. We've done worse.
Listen, I guess we're fortunate to live in the time and place that we do. You know, we could have lived in a time we'd be writing each other telegrams about The Bachelor.
I think we can confidently say that when our fathers were our age, they could never envision doing something like this.
No. That's true.
Yeah. So we're lucky.
It's not that they're not proud, because they are.
Well, they're thrilled. They're absolutely thrilled.
So, let's get into it.
Yeah, let's do it.
We had some serious visits tonight with the parents, and I know that you have done everybody a great service, and you've transcribed these interactions that took place. So what do you have for us?
Well, I think we'll just go in order. What I did is, I just want to set this up, and you can do the reading, but I transcribed sort of the key elements of the interaction between Juan Pablo and the parents, where there was a blessing that was sought, and then, I captured what was given. And I want you to read it. I want the fans to play along at home, and then we make a ruling, blessing or no blessing. I think a lot of people have some preconceived notions about what the blessing is, and we might open some eyes tonight about what really is and isn't the blessing.
Right. You might think everybody gave a blessing. You might think nobody gave a blessing. I think what we want to introduce here is some nuance, some interpretation that might not be available to you if you don't have our experience and insight. So
before we get to Nikki and whether or not there was a blessing there, though, let's just talk about the date itself. They're in Kansas City, Missouri, and I thought the big missing piece of the show tonight was the failure of the producers to show the mechanical bull operator on screen. Because my experience with mechanical bulls, and its extensive experience I have, is that the single creepiest profession that you could ever enter into is to be the mechanical bull operator guy.
Mechanical bull operator.
I don't know if you've ever seen one of these guys work at a frat party or like a bar on Bourbon Street in New Orleans. Mm-hmm. But this is a profession that you don't get into unless your sole purpose in life is to convince intoxicated women to take their shirts off.
Yeah, that's a big part of it.
That's the only part of it.
Well, I'll have you know, obviously you haven't heard this story. I once not only rode a mechanical bull, I rode a mechanical bull on live television.
I thought you were going to say that you had the Indian dermatologist ride a mechanical bull. You got her to take her shirt off. You were operating the bull.
That's a different story. I rode a mechanical bull. I was a sportscaster in Montana, and I went to the Montana State Fair. People are going to think I'm making this up, but this is actually my life. And I rode the mechanical bull during a live shot for the noon show, and I was thrown off the mechanical bull. I landed face first on a mat, and I had to get up and toss it back to the anchor. Well, there was no YouTube at that time. Fortunately.
That's where you honed your segue skills, though. That's why you are who you are. That's why you opened the podcast. I don't open the podcast. I don't have that skill.
You couldn't do that. That's why we're podcasting here today.
That's right.
So, not to get off track, I thought that this Kansas City date with the barbecue was very revealing. I don't know if you noted this, but I loved Juan Pablo's reaction to the barbecue. He's eating the ribs, going, ay, 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 oh, ay, 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 ay.
Yeah,
it was very Juan Pablo.
Yeah, it was authentic. He reacted the same way that like people on Survivor react when they eat grasshoppers. Just he was so jammed up about eating ribs. Like, dude, it's just ribs and French fries. Calm down.
It was a really big moment for him. So they go and they meet the family, Tom and Jennifer, the parents, and I also appreciated how the mom, when she was talking to Nikki, we've heard this before, it's becoming a bit of a running theme. She said to Nikki, "Are you sure there's a mental attraction?"
You know my favorite part of what you just said was? You do the same thing that I do, which is you don't write down, when you're taking your notes, you don't write like mom said this, dad said that. You use their names. You show them proper respect, Tom and Jennifer.
Well, you have to. And that's something we heard tonight too. From Claire's hometown, you got to respect mama. Don't disrespect mama.
Right, yeah. If her name's Mom, if she wants to go by Mama, you call her Mama.
Call her Mama.
Yeah, you can't call Tom Dad because he's not your dad. You got to call Tom Tom.
Call him Tom.
That's right. Yeah, you're right. Mental reps. I think the mom identified the importance of mental reps between Nikki and Juan Pablo. I don't know that I love the relationship that Nikki has with her mother. At one point, she called her mother her best friend.
Right.
And I don't know if other people are as aware of this as we are, but Juan Pablo has to be your best friend. You have to marry your best friend. You can't marry your mother.
Yeah, she better get with the program.
Right. You better figure out fast whether or not Juan Pablo is your best friend.
I agree. So I'd like to get to the potential blessing here.
Yeah, let's do it.
Said.
Let's break
analyze
it down.
This.
I think I wrote down the blessing from both perspectives, with the mother and the father.
Right. So first we have Tom, Nikki's father, and he said to Juan Pablo, and I'll quote here, "Whatever decision she makes, we will accept wholeheartedly, and we will accept you into our family."
All right.
The blessing or not the blessing?
This one, not that close of a call. I think everyone at home playing along can get this. I'm going to make a ruling, and this is the definitive ruling, not the blessing.
Not even close.
Because the father says whatever decision she makes. That's leaving it open to her not accepting Juan Pablo. To give a blessing, you have to buy in completely. You have to say, this is the decision. The decision is that she wants Juan Pablo. Leaving it up for interpretation, not the blessing.
Yeah, if you start with a qualifying clause, it's not the blessing.
Right.
Okay, don't qualify it. So Nikki's mom had a little bit of a different take on the situation. Tell me if this is the blessing or not the blessing.
This is Nikki's mom to Nikki.
Nikki's mom to Nikki. This is what she's saying. This is Jennifer. And I'll quote, "As my daughter, I want you to know that I will always support you in whatever you do. There is no question in my mind that you are an intelligent and talented and extremely bright and capable person, and whoever is lucky to have you is going to be somebody that can stand the test of time. I love you, sweetheart." What does that even mean?
Well,
is that even in the ballpark of the blessing?
You got to ask the question: blessing or not?
Is it the blessing? Blessing or no blessing? What's your ruling?
Not the blessing.
It's nothing. It's telling your child you love them.
It's a filibuster, is what it is.
I went up and I got some goldfish. While she was
definitely not the blessing. And so, right now, most people at home are probably 2 for 2. It's just not the blessing. Tom, he didn't give the blessing. How do you pick Nikki at this point? There's no blessing.
I don't know. So, they got out of there in one piece. And one thing that I noted after the date, I thought that, we learned over the years to pay attention to this. Juan Pablo was paying extra attention to her lips. He's kissing her,
Mm-hmm.
I just felt like just watching that display that she's clearly the front runner.
You think Nikki's the front runner?
Oh, easily.
Well,
I don't think it's close.
I think that there's just less drama with her. She seems like the easiest one to pick at this point. The other ones all seem to come with a lot of concern. They seem a little more high maintenance than Nikki, where Nikki's just like, look, I'm in it to win it.
She's very compliant, is what she is.
I haven't made Juan Pablo the center of my life. There's a little bit of mystery still to her.
Right.
Claire is dove in head first in the shallow end.
Yeah, she sure did.
And Andy, I think, is maybe. I don't think she just doesn't think the right way. She doesn't think like Claire and Nikki. Nikki, you're right, is just sort of kind of perfectly positioned right now.
Yeah. All right, so let's go to Andy's date. Another very, very strong contender, I think. And this was in Atlanta. This puts a very fine point for me on just what Juan Pablo is all about. When he's trying to explain what attracts him to these ladies, he really says nothing. For Andy, he said, Andy is just,
Right. His go-to is number one, beautiful. Number two, she is who she is. It's some version of like she's herself.
And number three is he just makes a sound. He just makes a sound. It's not even a word. She's just,
I actually, that's so funny you say that, because now I'm looking at my notes, and I have it says JP goes separately with Patty. Patty, of course, being Andy's mother.
Right.
And in quotes, it says this is what JP said to Patty, and it's in quotes. She's beautiful first. Second of all, she's smart. Very smart. And then in my actual notes, I have brackets, and in the brackets it says inaudible. And then after the bracket, it continues with Juan Pablo's quotes. Back and forth, we can go for hours.
Yeah, because it's bang, bang. They can go back and forth for hours.
Right, they're just so sharp. They're just like
it's
Abbott and Costello. They're just shooting jokes right off each other.
The repartee is
it's unmatched.
It's like lightning. You can't keep up with it.
Absolutely, and she had some incredible parents. I think she covered both ends of the spectrum. You had Patty, the mother, who was just sort of there. And then you had Hai, who was very, very much involved.
Well, Patty just wanted to dance with Juan Pablo. That's what she was after.
Patty was like, I've been married to Hai for 30 years. Finally, there's another man in my house. I want someone to pay attention to me.
Just hold me. I don't know. I know you're not interested in me. You're interested in my daughter, but hold me.
Yeah, please take me away from Hai. He looks like
Hai was adorable, I thought.
He looked a lot like Claude Julien.
He did. I mean, Hai is a guy you want in your corner, whether you're planning, a defensive game plan or, you're looking for the blessing. You want Hai there.
Yeah, but Hai was not so forthcoming with the blessing.
Well, I think we've got to determine that. I think we've got to go through it and figure out what was said. I know this: Hai was keeping it real. He was. It didn't matter to him that there were cameras there. This is his daughter. He's a father, so let's hear what he had to say.
Well, wait. Let me ask you. Well, no. Go ahead. I'll ask it later. Go ahead.
Let's read it. Let's just get right to the text. Okay. This is Hai to Juan Pablo. Quote: "You're a father. You have a 4-year-old daughter, almost 5. Reverse roles just for a moment. If somebody came to you that was dating 3 other people and said to you, 'If I do, will you?' Okay. As far as accepting you, so my answer to you is, I won't answer you, because the person that's going to be good enough for my daughter is going to come to me and say, there's no one else in the world for me. When and if that time comes, we'll have this discussion. Blessing or no blessing?"
Well, it's not the blessing, but it's not the blessing. It's a deferred blessing. Some people will say, and they have a point, that a deferred blessing is no blessing, but it's not the blessing. If you know what I'm saying.
He's saying you're not asking for the blessing at the appropriate time.
Right. He's saying, I reject the premise of your question. And then when and if the time comes to revisit it, and I think he even said this later to Patty, he said, look, I told him, if you want to come back later when the time is right and ask for the blessing, I'm sure I'll be very, very giving of the blessing.
Yeah, it's premature. What you did was a premature request for the blessing.
Right. You jumped the gun, Juan Pablo. You can't do that.
Easy. Maybe that's just what Juan Pablo needs. Just pump the brakes, man. You're coming to me for the blessing, and you're just that's the kind of real talk that he needs, I feel like.
There were a couple situations tonight when Juan Pablo, I think, reached for the blessing when the blessing clearly wasn't there.
Yeah, you can't be overeager with the blessing.
No, it's not like revealing a tragic backstory. The tragic backstory, you don't reserve anything. You just let it out. But when it comes to the blessing, if it's not there, if it's so obviously not there, it's too risky to ask for it.
Yeah, you can't do it. He almost really blew it. I mean, it wouldn't have been surprised to me if I said, you're completely out of line asking for the blessing.
Right. You come in my house and want my blessing?
That's right. So, I think what Hai said to Andy was consistent. He said to her, and I'll quote here again, it's just, I only have one. I'm not sure if you mean one blessing or one daughter. I think he's got multiple daughters.
One concern.
I don't want you to get one concern. I don't want you to get hurt. Nothing else matters to me. I mean, you know that. That's all I care about. I have concerns about things rapidly unfolding too fast, as opposed to things rapidly unfolding too slowly, which, believe it or not, could happen. And I think that's entirely consistent with what he did with JP, and I admire it.
Yeah, I'm not sure that Andy is really even ever going to be in a position to ask for her father's blessing. It's not her blessing to receive. It's Juan Pablo's blessing.
That's right.
The daughter doesn't get her father's blessing. The guy that wants the daughter gets the father's blessing.
Well, one thing that I love that Hai did also is Juan Pablo came to him, and he, after the awkward salsa dance with the mom, he came to Hai, and Hai asked him, what's this all about? And he started off. He went to his go-to move. He said, "I have a daughter." And Hai said, "Forget your daughter. I don't care about your daughter. It's not about your daughter."
Right.
And I don't think Juan Pablo's ever heard that before.
I would like to have. We say that all the time.
Yeah.
I think Hai was right on the money with that. He said, "Look, no disrespect to Camilla Valentina, but who gives a shit about Camilla Valentina? It's about that's your daughter. We're talking about my daughter."
There's only room for discussion about one daughter here. It's my daughter.
Right.
Threw it right back.
Yeah. What does Hai care about Camilla Valentina? Imagine some hotshot comes into your house talking about his daughter, and you got your own daughter to worry about.
Yeah, miscalculation by Juan Pablo.
Huge miscalculation. I mean, he wanted to do anything to deflect the conversation away from the earlier awkward conversation they had about the fact that she was on the show for 6 weeks and never spent time alone with Juan Pablo.
Right, that was awkward.
Very awkward. But credit to Hai.
I was really pressing him on the numbers. Like, let me just get this straight. There were 15 women left at this point. There were 11 women left at that point. He wouldn't let up.
Hey, he was trying to pin him down.
You got a little confused, Juan Pablo.
Hey, he was trying to pin him down. I think that all credit to Hai here. I think Hai was one of the fathers who was there for the right reasons. Really knew what he was doing.
Terrific job if you're listening.
Sensational.
So we moved to Renee's date, and I have to say, the thing that really stuck with me about this is, when Juan Pablo said to Brenda and Tom, the reason that he cares for Renee is she's just herself, and that's what makes her so special. It's like a prime example Juan Pablo has no idea about Renee. He knows nothing about her. She's just herself. That's what makes that's not what makes her special. What makes her special is she is a freaking saint, Renee. Okay? She's a wonderful woman. She gives, she gives, she gives. She cares about everybody else. Have you ever seen another woman who's friends with both Claire and Nikki? I don't think so. I think she's the only one.
She's so sweet. Yeah.
And you have nothing to say about Renee except she is who she is?
Well, maybe he figured that Brenda and Tom already knew all the good qualities, and he just wanted to reaffirm that she was what she was, that what they thought she was. You know, like Dennis Green said, they are who we thought they were.
No disrespect here, but are you a father?
I'm not a father, but what I'm saying is...
Okay, that's just a yes or no question.
The answer would be no.
The answer is no. A father wants to hear what makes his child special. It's not enough to say your child is special. Okay, I know my child's special. I don't need you, Mr. Juan Pablo, to tell me that. I want to know why you think she's special. I want to judge whether you're right. You may say something completely off the wall, like my child plays excellent soccer in the defensive zone. I would say you're out of your mind. He doesn't pay any attention.
Like if
when he's playing soccer.
Juan Pablo, he said when he was talking to Hai about Andy, he said she's very smart. And if I think Hai would have had the balls to be like, she's not that smart.
She's really not that smart.
Look,
she can shoot a mean pistol.
Try again, buddy. You can't pull a fast one on me.
That's right. I want to see if you're paying attention. And he's not paying the slightest bit of attention. And Renee deserves better than that.
Yeah, but I mean, I just I don't know that Tom is going to enter the pantheon of fathers on this show. As far as I could tell, he never got one-on-one time with Juan Pablo.
It's hard to tell if Tom was napping during the dinner or if he excused himself for a little while. But here's what he had to say to Renee, having no interaction whatsoever with Juan Pablo that we could discern. Or maybe it was so unremarkable that they just didn't want to air it. But here's what he said to his daughter. Juan Pablo's a good guy. Right off the front, you can get a good read on him. Blessing or no blessing?
I'm going to take an unconventional stance here. I'm going to say that's a blessing.
Just because he doesn't care?
I think if you look at it on paper with no context, you're going to say that's not a blessing. But given some context, and if you know who Tom is, and I don't think we need a lot of exposure to Tom to know what Tom's all about, you know that Tom doesn't really care. Tom's like, whatever. You've been sad for like 15 years. You need someone around the child. Ben needs to have a catch. Just marry somebody. I don't really care. Just stop bothering me. He's fine. That's a blessing.
That was uninspiring.
Yeah, it's a blessing. It's
not really uninspiring.
It's not the best blessing. Not all blessings are created equal, but it's a blessing. It's fine.
Well, I think, after the Renee date, I just felt this terrible, terrible feeling that it wasn't going to work out for her. She's just a really nice lady. But what this has all been building to was the encounter with Claire and her family, which we knew was going to be the most dramatic. Mm-hmm. She's just got that written all over her. But, it was a very unconventional exchange for the blessing. It's like her sister, her older sister, just sort of hijacked the blessing. She's out there with Mama. She's interfering. I'm thinking, let Mama speak. Don't disrespect Mama.
Right. Well, what I transcribed this entire
let's get to it.
I think that you and I should do this. I prefer to play the role of Laura here, the sister, and there's also a couple lines where the mother chimes in. I can play that part too. I'm pretty versatile.
All right.
So
you just want me to be Claire.
Yeah. Yeah.
How are we going to know if you're voicing Laura or Mama?
You'll know.
All right, let's get to it. You just begin whenever you're ready.
All right. You want to sit next to Mama or me?
He's like everything I ever wanted in a guy. Everything.
Okay. My question would be, how much would it hurt for you if he didn't choose you?
Well, here's the thing.
I mean, you got to be realistic about it, too. And there's still these other girls he's feeling attraction toward, obviously.
Yeah. Even if I open myself up and fall in love, like, it's okay because of how strong I've become.
Okay. But here's the thing, too, is, we've seen these shows and we've seen things, and they come down to, can I, as for you, your blessing to have your daughter's hand in marriage? To give a blessing, I don't believe that we're there yet.
Hold on. Mama doesn't, or you don't?
You know that Mom is very traditional.
She's allowed to say how she feels, Laura. She doesn't need your voice and your thoughts and your feelings.
I'm only saying to you. Can I finish? I'm saying things to you as my sister that I wouldn't say to other people. And I know that you've got all these cameras and stuff here. I don't care.
I don't care either. I'm following my heart, and I'm not just doing anything because it's a show. You haven't seen me. You don't know. You don't know what's been going on. You don't know how I feel.
I see how happy you are, and I see how.
That's the thing. Above anything, I just want you guys to want happiness for me and to trust. To please trust. I just...
Good.
And it came down to the very end. He chooses me for him too. You know what I'm saying? It feels the same way about me as I feel for him. It would devastate me if the only thing...
If it comes down to... No.
Hold on.
Because I'm not going to let this. No. I'm not going to let you manipulate Mama.
I'm not manipulating anything. I'm asking her.
Okay.
If she wants... What are you doing?
I'm not going to let Mama be manipulated into saying something she doesn't want to say.
I'm not manipulating anything.
Okay, what are you going to ask her then?
Why are you doing this?
Because you're not respecting Mama.
It's just important to me to know that my family backs me.
I'm just going to be back here. Okay.
Mom, what if it came down to it at the very end and I have fallen in love?
Hey, Claire.
Why are you standing there?
Because I don't want...
If you want to be part of the conversation, sit down.
I don't want to say anything anymore. So now I'll just be back here.
Okay, blessing or no blessing?
Well, I'm going to say that's no blessing. I'm going to go... And now we're out of character, by the way. I'm going to say that's no blessing. I don't think that... first of all, that his sister can give a blessing. And I think that the sister went to such great lengths to prevent a manipulation of Mama and really raised a lot of flags about whether Mama was going to be manipulated, that anything Mama said at that point is null and void because of the fear of manipulation.
Yeah, it's interesting to me that you completely omitted anything Mama said. It was just Mama and Juan Pablo.
Well, no, I have that above. I have one of the things she said. You can read it. It's at the very top of the Claire section I sent you.
Okay, let me see here. It's at the top of the Claire section. Oh, I see. Mother to Juan Pablo, I would be very happy to have you, but it's up to you. Well, yeah, I mean, what does that even mean, given all that transpired before?
Abdication of responsibility on Mama's behalf.
Yeah, really difficult.
She's the only one that controls the blessing. She can't give blessing ability to Juan Pablo. She has to say yes or no. She can't say, well, you give the blessing.
Let me ask you this question. Are you aware of the previews for next week? Have you seen anything?
I'm going to tell you what I saw. I saw that there's something goes down in the fantasy suite that very much angers Andy.
Are you wearing a heavy winter coat, by the way?
No, it's a hoodie. It's just a hoodie.
Okay. All right.
But I am sweating.
Well, yeah.
Why do you ask about the previews?
Well, I just want to know if you know where we're headed here, because I think there's an interesting dynamic that's being set up it seems like there's some turmoil between Juan Pablo and Andy. And, as I said earlier, I thought based on Hometowns alone, Nikki was a clear front runner. And I just wondered, because that there's a close relationship with Andy and Nikki. Is Andy's experience in the fantasy suite going to somehow infect Nikki such that Claire wins by default? Because that doesn't happen. I think Nikki's the clear front runner. What are your thoughts?
Claire is in it to win it. We know that. You could see the look on her face in the background when Renee got kicked off. She was giddy. I mean, she's just giddy that someone else is going home. Like she doesn't really hide that fact. She's just she's here to win.
Yeah.
And I think, but I think you're going a little too heavy on Nikki here. I think what Claire's advantage is that you're not paying enough attention to is the DVD with the dead father. I mean, her backstory is so far superior to the other two. The other two don't even have a backstory. There's no second place when it comes to backstories here.
Right. The real power move tonight would have been for while Juan Pablo was talking to the sister and the mom, just to roll out a big screen television and play the DVD right then and there.
Yeah, that would have been Claire's power move. But what if Nikki or Andy had just killed one of their parents? And then that would have been another great power move.
Strong counter.
And then next week in the fantasy suite, they got guilt. They feel guilt about it, and that's maybe more powerful and certainly more raw than whatever it is that Claire's feeling.
So what are we doing tomorrow night? Are we just playing this by ear? Are we going to have a quick call of some sort?
I think we're going to have to see how it plays out.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's pretty nervy of them to do 4 hours and 2 nights and to put, this is a lot to jam together. It's like, it's like playing the silver and gold medal game on, back-to-back nights. It's a little much.
What do they need to free up the Monday night slot for? Like that stupid mixology show? I mean, what are
you trying to prove? You got to dominate, two nights in a row. You can't space it out a little bit.
Are they going to make? So is it over next week? Is next week the last week?
Well, usually they do don't they do the after the final rose before the finale?
Oh, well, they do the Women Tell All.
Women Tell All.
Yeah. Women Tell All, and I Don't Listen, because I never watched that.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens.
And we can't make promises. I don't think we could promise anything one way or the other. I mean, maybe we just do another podcast right now and don't post it until after the show tomorrow, and we just pretend like we know what happened.
Yeah, we could do that. They put us in a really tight spot. You're just gonna have to wait and see.
That's all we can do. But so your money's on Nikki though for the final rose.
Yeah, I think if I had to bet, that would be my bet. How about you?
Yeah, I think that would go that way too. I don't think it's as strong as you, but she kind of strikes me a little bit like Chris with Desiree. Like just doesn't really make a lot of mistakes. And kind of lets the other contestants pick each other off.
Yeah, play a conservative style. Play a conservative style. Be consistent.
Right.
And you're there at the end.
And if she can drop an "I love you" or maybe a dead somebody backstory next week in the fantasy suite,
yeah,
maybe it's game over.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. All right. Well, this was a big night. We've got a lot to digest. Thank you for joining us, everyone. Until maybe tomorrow night. We don't know. No promises. Maybe next week. The big kids.
Time to kid. It's time to kid. It's time to kid. It's the big kids. Come and kibitz with the big kibbitz. Ooh, big kibbitz. It's the big kibbitz. Come and Kibitz with a big kibitz, oh, big kibitz.